Next up, we have the Necromancer, which is very weak in the current meta. Blast Bones, which is your main delayed burst tool, has all sorts of problems landing and hitting targets. Deep Fissure Warden skill simply is a better version of them, and the Nightblade right now in the current meta with Rush of Agony is a better bomber. With low mobility, predictable damage, and ways to get major vulnerability outside of the Necromancer skill lines, you just don't see a whole lot of them on the battlefield anymore.
Are Necros really that bad? Well, we'll be discussing that shortly and get to the point. But with that being said, welcome to Nudie TV. Do not forget to subscribe because our goal is to reach 500 subscribers. And once we have completed this goal, we'll be giving away $50 Visa gift cards to our lucky winner subscribers on our grab bag raffle. Anyone has a chance to winning. All you have to do is click a subscribe button totally free. And by doing this, you'll stay updated with our channel. This will help us continue to develop much more content, especially for those subscribers who like more help with content or even a chance to have a free voice in our podcast to talk about their passions for and other topics, updates on life, etc. Alright, now on to the Necro. Okay, so I have spoken to several SO gamers, from casual players, solo players, PvPers, support DPS, support and gamers about their frustration with the Necromancer. However, everyone has preferences and tastes to their own gameplay and biases. And because of this, I will try to make a fair assessment and take every information like a grain of salt and just put it together and come up with a conclusion. And here's what I observed towards the end I will give my conclusion. So now let's begin, and this is how I tested out the Necromancer. So during this test, the first thing we'll be looking at is the parse. How well does it in this parse, how easy the fluency, whether it's outdated, updated, and what it needs work on, as well as damage, guide, and as well as game content. Then the second thing we'll be testing is the world boss, because besides the parse, we also want to test game content, so there'll be other elements, and we'll be testing from the world boss in the overland and see how that goes as well. And then third will be followed by solo one-man arenas and see how that goes as well. Test it out, because there's also different sets and different builds that you have to use when you go solo. So we're going to experiment with that as well. Fourth, take it into a dungeon to see how well it fares in a veteran dungeon. And then the fifth and final test will be PvP Cyrodiil to see how all 5 work, and then at the end I will grade it and give a conclusion to whether I think it's good and bad, and then you can also give your conclusions in itself. Okay, the number one first is parse testing. Necro is very complex rotation compared to any other class. I think the only class that may have some resemblance to a tough rotation is the Nightblade, but even them have been updated in the last few patches. And while I do enjoy a challenge, and the Necro class does have a lot of cool things in its toolkit, it's just sad to see where it's at. I wasn't necessarily going for the highest sweatiest parse, but a more decent damage rotation to about 100k damage. What I found out is that being all Magicka on a Necro with double staff was very lackluster, with problems and resources, blast bones, followed by a few skills being clunky, lackluster, at times laggy, missing the hitbox, or that it correlates to loss of damage. I was however able to reach 100k on a support build and 106k when I went dual wield and changed a few skills around to stamina, making it more hybrid than Magicka. However, its best results is literally to go all stam resources with two-handed and dual, which will give you an easy 20k more damage. My personal experience, I enjoy some melee, but in harder content where you need range, Mag Necro was a bit disappointing. Mag gave me a squeeze 100k on the parse, dual with staff it gave me about 106, and two-handed gave me about 110k DPS on the parse. So I give it the benefit of the doubt. I'll rank it for this parse. I'll let it pass, give it a check, okay. As that functions as it may seem, simply because there's always work to be improved, and I do like the challenge of trying to work the Necro and master it just like I mastered the Nightblade. So I'll give this a pass, okay. Not great, not perfect, but let's move on. Number 2, World Boss. So I had to literally take off any medium armor I had in my body, because as a mag necro, I just could not maintain any resources. Many may think, whoa, you're in a mag. However, a few patches back, they made it more and more hybrid, which made it much more doable to play with medium armor and not have so much trouble with resources. Considering that medium armor is the only armor in the game that provides no penalties for wearing it in combat. However, the lack of resources on my Mag Necro alone probably was also because since I'm playing alone, probably needed more pen, so it only makes sense to get some light armor, which did help give me a bit more damage compared to the medium, probably due to the pen. However, I still struggle with damage as the blast bone and skull animations were just way too slow, still clunky, and by the time I hit the boss, the boss has so many opportunities to just one-shot me. It was not even funny. I felt amateur at best. Considering I'm on a world boss that should be super cake for an experienced player, plus I can get this world boss down with any of my other classes I play in, and yes, there are classes that I'm better in, but in all the classes that I play in, this world boss is just easy breezy. And having buffs and becoming more hybrid compatible, I just felt the Necro is very old school at the moment and outdated. I give it a fail. No bueno. Three, Maelstrom Solo Arena. Same problem, but this time even worse. Animation clunky slow, outdated. By the time of the boss or the ads hit me, still takes far too long to burn down because of delay of skills, sometimes skills don't work, and lack of resources. The only thing that was able to work was becoming a bit more tankier and using more corpses to survive. However, wiping most of my damage skills from the bar was taking me so much longer to kill ads and bosses. For someone learning the game, sure, you can probably enjoy it a bit more, but as you get more experience, you're gonna find this enjoyable as you start to notice how easy it is to burn down ads and bosses with other classes that just throw your controller out the window. Failed. Then number 4, dungeons. Now I picked the easiest non-DLC dungeon known to mankind that you can easily solo on veteran for any experienced player. Was not fun. Same situation. The 3 main bread and butter damage skills that give the most damage on a Necro at times just didn't work. Delays in animation, slow, clunky. If anything, the corpse helped to stay alive, but honestly not fun. Eventually, I got lucky enough that when I queued up for random vet, Fungal Grotto came out. For 4-man and support and DPS, sure, that was fun. The Necro does give a lot to a group, even though in 4-man it's a bit useless as a support DPS because there's not much to give the long as your group has a ton of damage. Solo damage wise, not so fun, especially when you're in an easy breezy dungeon that can be done less than 5 minutes with any of your tunes. I mean, I even have PvP tunes that I take to Fungal Grotto that were so much faster. So take to solo so much longer. Took me about 10 to 15 minutes. Failed. Number 5, took it to PvP Zero. Now PvP wise, damage wise, just lackluster. By the time you hit a skill, too predictable, anyone could predict your hits. Clunky. If anything, if you enjoy just being a troll and being tanky, maybe every now and then you can join a ball group, play as a support tank or healer. Otherwise, damage PvP dealer wise, terrible. So everyone, in conclusion, the pros, Necros, does have potential to be good if only they fix it with the patches and the issues that they have. Necros are helpful in support roles or support DPS department. However, damage dealer wise, lackluster, and if you're going to put a support DPS, don't take out your best hard-hitting DPS for it. Give it to a role to support like a sub or someone who's a DD who's probably the lowest hitter in your group. Here's the thing. Yes, you can like the Necro, but Mag Necro at the moment is just not good. Now, if you play all stam Necro, will make much more sense. Consider this is a class that's outdated, is never good. Let's think about it. All other classes, sure, they have their issues, but now with easy builds such as one bar builds, heavy attack builds, and the Arcanist doing consistently damage all the time, why the hell would I even want to be in a complicated, outdated class that Bane's damage abilities don't even work? The bread and butter. I mean, even the Nightblade who has a complex rotation is now much more hybrid, updated, and getting a buff this patch. Plus, their rotation alone makes you survive without even heals. Stealthy Ninja. So now you know, guys, there's your choice about the Necro. I guess everything they did say was true.